Greetings, fellow humans, and welcome to Sam and Max Hit the Books. I'm Max.
I'm Sam.
And we're here today to talk about the comics that came out on the 9th of October in 2019. Let's get started with the 5th issue of Event Leviathan by Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev. The first thing I want to say about this is that no comic should ever need so much of a summary page.
I skipped that page completely.
You don't need it if the book has been written competently.
Right.
Because it's literally just like, you don't need to have read any of the previous issues if you read this. Like, this is crazy to me, this like 2-page spread of art and text that they slapped into the middle of the intro.
Oh yeah, that's why I skipped it.
At one point, they started trying really hard to convince us that Lois's dad was Leviathan.
Right.
And they started pushing it so hard that I instantly knew that there was no way it could be him.
Yeah, exactly.
They really played it up quite a bit. It's weird how everybody in the DC universe is Lois Lane's biggest fan.
It is strange, yeah.
I would be actually sort of interested to have some person be like, hey, like, this thing you wrote, like, I didn't agree with it. Because everyone's always like, oh my god, Lois Lane is the most amazing detective and journalist of the modern day.
Right, even the crux.
Right, exactly. So Superman goes to some nebulous place and faces Leviathan face to face, and Leviathan's identity is, for the most part, revealed in this issue. We know it's one of the former Manhunters. Yeah. There's been 4 different Manhunters in the past, so we still don't know which Manhunter it's going to be. But yes, the big reveal of Event Leviathan, which they even call Event Leviathan in the pages of Event Leviathan, because Leviathan says it, like, Event Leviathan, like, this event.
Yep.
It's so weird. And yeah. It's not too dynamic.
Nope.
It's kind of boring to look at. The color treatments are kind of uninteresting. Very, very dull.
Yeah.
This is all very dull for how epic it's trying to make itself seem.
That's true.
I'm going to give this it a 3.
Okay. I give it a 2.
Fair enough. What's next?
Next up is issue 17 of Hawkman by Michael Venditti and Pete Olaf.
Robert Venditti,
sorry.
Sorry, Robert, we know you're listening. But, we love the series.
I'm not good with names. I'm sorry, Robert. This is, moving on with the Shadow Thief story. And
end of this filler arc. And this has been the filleriest filler.
Yeah, and this comic takes about 5 minutes to read because it's basically just Hawkman. He gets beaten up a little. He beats up his shadow, which hurts him a little. And then he manages to really beat up Shadow Thief.
Right, because the real conceit of the comic is no longer, can Hawkman beat this guy?
Right,
it's why is Hawkman so angry?
Right, what's going on with Hawkman? And his buddy can see it. So he's like, nah, I'm not going to let you kill Shadow Thief. And he kicks him out of the Shadow Realm. And then Hawkman becomes, he
goes full Batman Who Laughs.
Yeah. Sky Tyrant flies again. Yeah,
had he called himself Sky Tyrant? Was that like his name when he was the leader of the evil legions?
No.
This is a new thing, even though he says flies again?
I guess so. I assumed that you knew about some previous time when he had become a Sky Tyrant. But yeah, he definitely as the leader of the murderous Hawkmen, the Deathbringers.
Right.
He didn't go by no Sky Tyrant.
No. Hawkman is one of those characters that you and I pretty much know exactly the same amount about at this point. So, yeah.
So maybe.
Hawkman. Yeah. I'm very interested to see what the next issue is going to be and how important it's going to be that we're not reading the current Batman Who Laughs stuff.
Is that what we're missing out on?
I don't know if it's missing out because, at first, Batman Who Laughs to me is such a Scott Snyder character.
Right.
That I just wasn't interested in this Al Williamson book that they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll see. It seems like we're going to be dancing around the periphery of a lot of Batman Who Laughs stuff with this and the Commissioner Gordon thing. And we're getting little hints of it in other books. But, When
it comes to this one, the art was good. And it had some action, which was good. Overall, I give it a 4.
Yeah, it's a 4 for me, too. I'm pretty... this is definitely the low point of Hawkman as it's been so far, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm interested to see where it goes. Maybe this is one of those books where they only had one real good arc in them. It does happen.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the first issue of Dr. Doom by Christopher Cantwell and drawn by Salvador Larroca. I was really on the fence with this one. I wasn't sure if I was going to pick it up, and the cover was pretty cool, so I decided, all right, I'm willing to give a Dr. Doom comic a shot.
Right.
And it's so close to being good, but the things that it misses on are such wide misses. Because near the end... Well, okay, Dr. Doom shouldn't have so much trouble with Agent Zero and Union Jack.
Okay, yeah.
And also... Doom's quips don't seem very much like things he would say, like when he says Brexit stage left to Union Jack.
Yeah, I was confused by that.
That was the point where I was like, I don't know if this book is going to be for me.
That's the thing. I mean, in here we've got Brexit, we got climate change, CO2, it's the enemy, we got open up a black hole on the moon. There's a lot of mainstream, and I use quotes here, science in this book that's I guess trying to make it relevant to the real world, but I don't feel like it needs that kind of thing.
This guy, the writer, he is a TV guy. He's worked on the show *Halt and Catch Fire*. So, and that's what this felt like to me. This was like if somebody was trying to do a TV version of Doom. This felt like the first episode of that. The scenes where Doom is seeing, I guess, an alternate version of his life where he's happily married but still ruler of Latveria. He's special envoy of peace to the world or something. I was very confused by those sequences.
Yeah.
Kang shows up just to be real annoying for a couple of pages.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
I agree with Doom that it's real dumb to open a black hole on the moon in order to combat climate change.
Well, it depends on what black hole theory you follow, since black holes come in many different varieties.
Right, but if we go by standard pop culture, black hole singularities...
sucks in everything, then you can't do it within an atmosphere.
It's Marvel Universe. We can make allowances for things, but... Yeah,
making a lot of allowances here.
When Doom is, the false flag attack has been launched, and Doom has been implicated, and he's getting ready to surrender, and he goes, I need to speak with them, and the girl goes, who? He goes, presidents, prime ministers, dictators, any fucking ruler.
Yeah, that was weird and over the top for
he's
him.
Panicking.
That's true.
Doom shouldn't be panicking. This just didn't, at the end of the day, feel like Doom to me. And also, Salvador Larroca's... it's a good thing it's a Doom comic and he can draw his face most of the time because Doom's mask looks awesome, but all the people's faces, I am not into. I'm not into unmasked regular guy Doom.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's definitely true.
And Doom has to put on treated bandages when he gets ready for bed.
I figured he slept in his armor.
I honestly I don't feel like picking up the rest of the series. I'm giving this a 2.
Okay, that's fair. I give it a 3. No, I give it a 2 as well.
Didn't like it, huh?
No, not really. The science really got to me.
Yeah, I thought you might have some trouble with their black hole shenanigans.
And their, CO2 is the devil.
Right.
I hate that too. Next up, we're going to be talking about Batman Detective Comics, issue 1013 by Peter J. Tomasi and Doug Mahnke. This one was all right. We got some good frees in this one.
Action figure Batman.
action figure
But
Batman.
his like heat armor later is so like
right,
by
yes.
Batman's heat armor.
Yeah, exactly.
New from Toy Biz.
He came totally decked out. I mean, it looks more like a supervillain version of Batman armor because of all the red and how sharp it looks.
It's very Azrael-ish in a way.
Exactly. But still pretty cool, and he's got a big heat gun with him, which is also cool.
What do you think of Alfred's many masked shenanigans?
I liked Alfred's shenanigans.
There was
first
another
when he's being the corpse, and later when he's got the flash mask on is hilarious.
Yeah, I did enjoy Alfred's wry sense of humor with that.
Yeah. What's interesting is that Batman he saves the women. He gets away from the crazy zombies that Freeze has made.
Right. Ice zombies.
Yeah, and Freeze, his backup plan is to, basically give up his plan about the women, I guess.
Yes.
And just do the original thing on his wife.
Yeah, because all the women were about testing before tying it on her.
Right, but it didn't seem like he had time to complete the test.
No, he definitely didn't, so he's going forward with it, and all of the tests he's done before have only allowed him to make these mindless zombie ice creatures.
Right, so here he is, rushing through his science. That's never good.
Yeah, a real madman. I don't like. He's a very not relatable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, real evil.
Yeah, and then his wife waking up at the end. That's something. We'll see what it's about.
Yeah.
I give this one a 5.
Yeah, 5 is right. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's one issue of Batman.
Right, exactly.
All right, speaking of issues of Batman, we've got issue 4 of Batman Universe by Brian Michael Bendis and Nick Darrington. This was probably my favorite issue of Batman Universe so far. Except for Hal Jordan, who I hated in this.
Hal Jordan was awful in this. Also, there's the problem of Batman Bruce Wayne's gloves.
What's wrong with
I wonder if you noticed when the egg is coming, when he gets the egg. He's wearing gloves, and then the egg flies into his hand, and he's not wearing gloves.
Oh no!
And he's then once again will be wearing gloves, not gloves, and then gloves.
Nick, no! How'd that happen?
Right?
Oh man, nobody noticed.
Ouch!
That's rough. Oh no. Okay, well that's an auto point docked away. But Jonah Hex, he's fine.
Yeah, Jonah's cool.
It's
cool. The way they're talking is pretty good, except for Flash.
Batman, though, Batman's like totally out of character at times. Like the things he says are just terrible. He's just okay. Especially when he gets back to their time, and he's like, he's talking to himself. Oh, I'm in Crime Alley. Oh, please be modern day. Oh, I really don't need to relive that. It's like. He wouldn't have that kind of an inner monologue, and also
well, that's true. But I peg that to Bendis.
Oh, well, yes, of course. Anything in the writing is pegged to Bendis. He goes, please pick me up. Like this is Dick Grayson. This is not Bruce Wayne, essentially.
Right.
Also, Bruce Wayne would never say Lambo. He goes, you brought the Lambo? Great.
Yeah. Yeah,
No.
that's definitely true.
Like, he would say Lamborghini. Bruce Wayne would say Lamborghini.
Okay, that's true. He is out of character. Not the most out of character in this week of comics, but pretty close.
It's hard to be writing a character at the same time Grant Morrison is writing them, because that's, I'm sure, why we thought Hal Jordan was just such a piece of crap in this. I'm not looking forward to reading, any more Bendis-written Hal Jordan should it come. But the art in this was very good. I enjoyed Jonah Hex. I enjoyed much of what was going on in the Old West, even if the characters were annoying.
Yeah.
I'm giving this a 4.
I also give it a 4.
Cool.
Next up is Superman, issue 16, which is the Super Sons return,
we need to have a real serious...
are together.
We need to have a real serious conversation about dropping Superman, I think.
Yeah, I mean, after this issue, I'd have to basically agree, because all of the conversation between these kids. I can't think of their names.
Damien.
John and Damien.
Yeah.
Robin. Is awful.
It's terrible.
Damien is not acting like I've come to expect Damien to act at all. He's acting more like one of the previous Robins, in my opinion.
Oh, like young Tim Drake?
Yeah, like young Tim Drake. Exactly.
Or even angrier, going with the young Jason Todd.
Yeah, either of them. More so than Damien, who, he's usually pretty stiff.
Yeah, Bendis writes Damien like an angry whippersnapper in a way that I am not enjoying.
Yeah, he seems like a troublemaker.
Yeah, he's... Yeah, and like the hugging through line, and
then there's the costumes.
Yeah, well...
Superman and John's costumes are just awful in the second half. Their feet are way too big, and I don't like it. It's
definitely a style thing, and I am not a fan of this style either.
Yeah, I mean, they look too bulky and too flat.
Hey, so this is the issue where John left to go to the future, right?
Yes.
So Mom didn't come to see him off?
Nope, he just went.
He just left.
But they left a communicator so that they can call him, I guess.
Anytime.
And Superman definitely seemed a little bit suspicious of the future people with him having his robots record everything.
Well, this literally just happened 3 weeks ago with Superman's dad, and John left and left a communication device behind that immediately did not work.
Right? Yeah, but this feels like... Yeah, it's probably going to have more, but also it could just be like, okay, we're getting rid of John for a little while.
Right.
So
please buy Legion of Superheroes.
Write about him. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. That's what this is all for. This is all about Bendis relaunching Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah. So I give this a 1.
Whew.
I hated it as much as that Venom issue a month or two back.
Yeah, I can't really think of much in terms of redeeming qualities for this comic book. I think it's a 1, and, to be completely honest, might be our last issue of Superman. We'll see.
I wouldn't blame you.
Alright. Another number 1 this week is the first issue of The Batman's Grave by Warren Ellis and Brian Hitch, with inks by Kevin Nolan, which gives a very Kevin Nolan-y look.
Yeah, it looks good.
I like Warren Ellis.
Yeah.
For the most part. Most of his stuff that he's written that I've read, I've liked. This comic, I did not like. Because it's yet another, Batman, you're just going out and beating up insane people. Right. Imagine if you were not Batman and used your money in other ways, says Alfred this time.
This is Alfred this time, as if throwing money at a problem solves everything.
And it's so dumb, because, we need... Batman's going to need to come out. Like, why do writers feel the need to come in and try to make this like philosophical argument when at the end of the day, it's never going to happen? Like this thing that they're saying.
This is Batman comics.
Like, make Batman like being Batman. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. When did he start hating being himself?
The investigation here is weird.
It is a weird investigation.
A weird, dark murder mystery.
Yeah. I did kind of like his hologram room.
Yeah, this was another very like TV-ish thing, I thought.
You
can just record the crime scene and then play it back later. And it seems like, he walks in with the folder that has the physical thing, so it's not like you can pull things off the wall.
Right. You just move around and look around.
And, when it does the little switch where, first he's reading the diary, and then we see the corpse saying the words from the diary instead. Like, they're doing some interesting things with it.
Right, he's getting into the head of the guy, and it's showing that in a visual way, which is cool.
But, man, this was just a dirge. And when it comes to Batman books at this point, like, if you're not going to be doing something interesting or new, then I feel like I'm not coming back for another issue. This is a 2.
A 2. I give it a 3. I liked it a little bit more.
All right, well, we'll see.
I like Batman investigating. I think that's the saving grace for me,
It just feels like really 12 issues of whatever this is.
Yeah, I never look at how long something's gonna be.
We'll see.
All right. Now, for the big issue of the week, Powers of X issue 10 by Brian.
Powers of 10 issue 6.
Did I say Powers? Powers of 10 issue 6 by Jonathan Hickman and R.B. Silva.
I was pretty wrong about what the big reveal of the issue was going to be.
The big reveal of the issue.
In our last recording, I mentioned that I thought the big reveal was going to be we were going to get a look under Professor X's helmet, and there was going to be phalanx stuff under there.
Oh yeah,
and that the future timeline was going to turn out to be a reveal that all of the stuff Professor X was doing had been co-opted and was not any longer about continuing mutant interests, but preparing the planet for phalanx introduction. But
right. Turns out not, because the humans are the ones who are preparing the planet for phalanx introduction. And yeah, the big reveal is that it's not the Sentinels or the Nimrods that take out the mutants eventually. It's the humans giving themselves powers through experimentation in science.
Right. This was the sixth life all along.
Yes.
And it's what radicalized Moira and made her go crazy, hunting down all the Sentinel makers in the life right after it. But really, the big reveal is that mutants always lose. The mutants always lose, no matter what happens, no matter what angle they take, no matter how confident Magneto and Professor X now may seem, mutants always lose.
Well, I think we kind of knew that, though.
Also,
because otherwise, why would Moira keep doing it over again if they weren't always losing?
You're not wrong, and that's the idea, right? Is that hopefully now this is the time that can win. But damn, according to what she learned in that life, nothing can be done. And since that life is the 3 lives where she sided with Xavier, Magneto, and Apocalypse.
Right.
So, yeah. And it seems like she broke Professor X.
That's true.
Because she says she did.
Yeah, she says she did. And he was, he gets more ruthless.
And who's blacking out journal pages in Moira's journal, and why, and what was blacked out? There's many mysteries still set up, and I should say, we don't get a look under the helmet, so it is still possible that what I said could come true. Also, since then, while thinking about it, I realized that this all could be a distraction effort, because you know who else's helmet hasn't come off the whole time?
Magneto's?
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, so they could both be doing something weird, or nothing. That could just be their looks.
Right. Because, now Professor X, he has a helmet, like Magneto always had a helmet, and that's how they are.
Right, he now has a Professor X helmet that looks like a Cerebro helmet.
Yeah.
And that's his costume. And it's so very, very downer in a way I wasn't expecting, to have it be so sinister at the end and have the ending of the future timeline be revealed for what it was, and to have the more sinister narration over the party scenes that are the exact same pages we got at the end of the previous issue of House of X. It's all very, very interesting. A lot of good setup, and I'm very much looking forward to reading X-Men #1.
Me as well. Yeah, I think that about covers what happens in this issue.
Yes, it does.
I enjoyed this whole run. It's a masterwork, obviously. And the fact that it doesn't end just gets to continue onward, if it continues to be of a quality like this, with clearly a grand idea behind everything, I'm going to be a happy camper. I give it a 7.
I'm giving it an 8. I really enjoyed it. Do you think you could just hand somebody the trade paperback collection of House of X and Powers of X?
Yes.
Just as a book, and they could just read it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this is going to be like a touchstone for years to come.
Agreed.
No matter what happens to happen with the rest of the Hickman run.
Well, I mean, it's so high concept that, people are going to be able to draw off it for a long time.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to, if they do an oversized hardcover of that might be worth getting.
I agree.
All right, we're going to finish out the reviews this week with the 5th issue of Usagi Yojimbo, part 2 of the Hero story arc. And speaking of downers,
Yeah, really.
holy shit.
This was downer of the week. It got me at the beginning, though.
Got you?
Yeah,
Oh, you thought
me.
that was what was really happening?
Yeah, it got me again, just like last time.
When he's fighting the zombie guy, and we know weird stuff can happen in Usagi, so it's definitely possible he could be fighting some sort of zombie samurai.
And he's like, my bite is death, and then it bites him.
But the second he finished that story and had the conversation with her, and they talked about how, like, oh, the hero can't get what he wants, I knew it was like, oh, we're heading for something here with Stan.
Tragedy.
I was surprised that the bandits that were accosting them at the temple were just unrelated bandits. That hardly ever happens. Usually they're like sent by somebody or something. But
Yeah.
we got a classic Usagi chases them off, and then unfortunately she has to go back to her husband because that's the way of Bushido.
Well, her father makes her.
Her father makes her, much to his shame, but it's all about the clan. And then her husband definitely 100% murders her on the road.
Right, and then Usagi comes up right after. I mean, she's not even dead yet.
Yeah, and the guy's like, oh, the same bandits attacked us.
Right, the ones you let get away.
And he's like, I held them off like you did, but like not before they murdered her. And he's like, well, there's definitely no evidence of that, and you're a huge asshole, but you're a samurai lord, and so I can't just question your account without concrete evidence.
Yep, exactly.
And then she's not dead, and she goes to die in his arms, and I figure she's going to implicate him at least in the death, so that Usagi can go kill him, but she doesn't.
Nope.
She just repeats the lesson about how the hero can't get what he wants, but at least he was her hero. And then that motherfucker kills himself.
And then he kills himself, like a few months later.
Yeah, a few months later, his lord walks in and talks about how the last book by his late wife is such a sensation, and she's definitely going to go down in history long even after their names are forgotten. And this dude obviously had some small smidgen of humanity in him because he realized he was a huge piece of shit and gave himself not even a super honorable Harry Curie.
Nope.
He didn't have anybody to slice his head. He just gutted himself and died in a puddle of blood.
Yep. And thus, no vengeance can be had.
And that's how it goes in Usagi Yojimbo.
Ouch.
That's how it be sometimes.
Yep.
I'm giving it an 8.
I also give it an 8.
It's very good.
Yeah, it's super.
All right, that was
sad.
all of the books for this week. Thank you so much for listening, everybody, sticking with us through all this time. Last I checked, we were at 29 subscribers, so hit subscribe, be our 30th. And we will be back with more comic reviews in the very near future.
Oh, yeah.